Welcome everybody to Ham Radio Adventures 5. Oops, fixing my mistakes. Tower lowering again. This is Mark, WB2AHH. It's August 20th, 2022. If you watched Ham Radio Adventures 4, when I put the tower up about a month ago, there are 3 Yagis on it. The middle Yagi is a 2 and 6 meter antenna. And what happened was I was working alone, didn't see a tree branch, and when I pulled the tower up, I kind of tipped that mast a little bit, and it knocked that antenna about 2 degrees out of center. On top of that, I made a big mistake with the HF antenna, and it's 180 degrees facing the wrong way. So I'm going to lower the tower today to fix it, and you'll see here I marked the branch that was the culprit that hit the antenna. And a little further along, you'll see the bottom 3 or 4 branches of this tree that has to come out. This tree was quite a large one. It's up about 80 feet, and those branches are around the 50-foot level. And I called my handy-dandy tree guy, and he came over, trimmed them real nice and professional for me. This is a time lapse of lowering the tower and performing the following. I straightened out the 2 and 6 meter Yagi that I tipped a tree branch on when I put the tower up, throwing the boom a few degrees off alignment. Turning the HF Yagi 180 degrees on the mast, and a general inspection while the tower was down. The total time to do all these changes was about 45 minutes. Then the tower was pulled back into position and the base bolts installed and torqued. This view is from the security camera mounted on a tower. I rigged up a jack to throw the tower off center for lowering, but it did not perform as well as I had hoped. I then got the tractor out, put a tow strap on the front of the tower, and that worked just fine. As the tower was pulled over to start the lowering, we had to move the truck with the 1/2-inch cable attached to the 40-foot level of the tower because the tension was too much to let the tower tilt over. You can see the cable in the video, and even though there was slack in it, it was still holding up the tower. I then got off the tractor, removed the tow strap, and moved the tractor out of the way. I got into the truck and began a slow lowering of the tower. The truck was in 4-wheel low, so any movement was slow and easy. You can see from the shadow of the tower how slow and careful it was lowered onto the 6-foot-high horse. Once the work was completed, the tower was raised into position. I used a formula I found online to estimate the weight and the amount of pull required to get the tower up. It was roughly 1,280 pounds of pull to start the lift. The amount of pull after 45 degrees is about 800 pounds, and at 80 degrees is about 212 pounds. Once the tower hits about 87 degrees, it straightens itself out and sits on a block I sized to place the rear tower leg at the proper place to insert a bolt. I then walked over to the tower, inserted all bolts at the base, except for when the tractor was in front of the tower, We used all due caution in case the worst happened, but all went smoothly. As the lift continues, you will see the shadow of the tower finally settling back on the rear leg of the tower. You can see a bit of shaking of the tower as the weight comes down on the leg. Upon inspection of the tower while it was down, I found all components properly in place, and specifically I checked the cable rotor loop for any chafing. It was all fine, and I should get a long, useful life from this setup. All antenna feeds are LMR 400 and are directly connected to the radiator element. This is how Mosley feeds these antennas. The branches you saw being removed earlier in the video worked out perfect, and the tower came down and up completely clear of any object. Guess I should have done that the first time, but live and learn. And here's a view of the tower after it was up and all bolts were put in place. Looks good, everything is level. Here's a view of the cabling and coax grounds. I used Times microwave mid-span coaxial grounding kits to place the braided outer conductor of the LMR 400 to ground for static discharging or worse. As you can see, all the antennas are now appropriately lined up and looking great and facing the right direction. Thanks for watching as the adventure continues. 73s, and see you on the next video.